Hey writers, welcome to today's writing lesson. Today we will be taking the Module 4 Diagnostic Writing Task. You will reread a part of Ellis Island, which is what you read in reading a few weeks ago, and then you will respond below to the diagnostic writing prompt. Make sure that you go back and you check your writing very carefully. I have 3 reminders that I want you to make sure that you remember while you are doing this diagnostic writing task. I want you to read the passage carefully. I really want you to read Ellis Island carefully and then know that you can refer back to it as often as you would like. The second reminder is I would like you to read the diagnostic writing prompt very carefully and really think about the answer. And then I want you to write your response to all parts of the diagnostic writing prompt below. So let's go ahead and read the prompt carefully together. It says, read pages 26 to 34 of Ellis Island and think about the information you learned about Ellis Island. You are going to write an informative article telling what immigrants' experience was like when they got to Ellis Island. And you need to use at least 2 details from the text. So, the directions are asking you to reread a few pages from Ellis Island and think about the information you learned. Then you are going to write an informative article telling what immigrants' experience was like when they got to Ellis Island, and you need at least 2 details from the text. How many details do you need? At least 2. Writers, you may be thinking, what is an informative article? Well, in your Google Classroom, I have an anchor chart to the video that you are watching right now. So in the anchor chart, it tells you what informational writing is. It is you writing about a real thing or place. You are giving information to the reader. Okay, so here is a quick example about turtles. So you would be giving information to the reader about turtles, and turtles are a real thing. You could share that turtles are green and brown, they're slow, and they're reptiles. You can also share that turtles can swim, lay eggs, eat plants, fish, or insects. And then you also can give me the information that they have a shell, a tail, a head, and 4 legs. So then, based on all the information that you learned, then you can start writing your paragraph. So here we have it started. We say that turtles are slow reptiles. They can swim and lay eggs. So for you today, you are going to be writing about the real thing and place of Ellis Island. And you are going to be telling me what the immigrants' experience was like when they got there. But for you to refresh your memory, you need to make sure that you read the book. So in the Google Classroom, I have linked the book under Informative Writing Diagnostic. This is where you have the book and you also have your exit ticket. So the book looks like this, and you first have the instructions that we've just read together. Then you have your book, and it is specifically on the pages that you need to read. Then, also in the Google Classroom, you have your exit ticket. This is what we just read together, and then right below, this is where you're going to respond and you're going to be writing your writing diagnostic. So let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and read Ellis Island for you. However, if you would prefer to read it on your own, again, I shared that the book is in the Informative Writing Diagnostic, which is where your exit ticket is as well. My suggestion is once you have finished reading, it would be best to set up your page just like this, where you can have your writing on one side and scroll down, because this is where you're actually going to begin writing. and then you'll have your book on the other. This way, you can make sure that you have your two specific details that you need in your writing. So, writers, if you would prefer to read it on your own and not have me read it, go ahead, pause the video, go get started on reading the article by yourself, and then respond to the prompt. However, if you would love me to read it for you, please stay here. I am going to go ahead and read it, and then you will go to the next activity in the Google Classroom and respond in the exit ticket. Remember, even though I am reading this for you, it is a good idea to have the text up as well. That way you can really pull out those two details from the text. So let's get started. So this is Chapter 4 from Ellis Island. The title is called On American Soil at Last. So this is the first and second class passengers usually did not have to go through an inspection at Ellis Island. Reaching Ellis Island was a great moment for immigrants. But they still need permission to enter the United States. For some, that would not be easy. Steerage passengers would have to go through a long immigration process. So these are some wealthy travelers usually went on quickly to New York City. Getting off the boat. Steerage passengers waited for a doctor to board the ship. The doctors pulled aside people with illnesses that could spread to others on the island. Sick people who could be cured stayed at Ellis Island Hospital until they were better. Those who couldn't be cured were sent home on the next ship. In all, about 2% of passengers had to return home. Many had little to go back to. Their dreams had been crushed in a day. That is so sad. Let's keep going. This exhibit at the Ellis Island Immigration Museum shows what immigrants brought with them to America. The wealthy immigrants went on to Ellis Island. Some compared the main building on Ellis Island to a castle. It was grander than anything most immigrants had ever seen. The immigrants entered the main building and dropped off their baggage. The immigrants then climbed up the steep stairs to the second floor. A group of doctors stood at the top of the stairs watching. If someone appeared ill or disabled, doctors marked the person's coat with blue chalk. So if someone appeared ill or disabled, doctors marked the person's coat with a blue chalk. Immigrants with marks had to undergo a full medical examination. One of the most feared inspections was an eye inspection. In Europe, there was an eye infection that caused blindness called glaucoma. Doctors wanted to prevent it from spreading to the United States, so they checked immigrants by turning their eyelids inside out with a special hook. Oh my goodness. People who failed the eye inspection on Ellis Island were sent back home. Here's a picture of them doing those eye inspections. Oh gosh, I bet that was scary. Immigrants waited for their turn in the registry room before answering questions. It's a big room. On Ellis Island, inspectors spoke 15 different languages. That's a lot. U.S. immigration officials interviewed newcomers to America at Ellis Island in 1908. The legal inspection. The next stop was the registry room. That's where immigrants had to answer questions from legal inspectors. These inspectors frightened many people. They wore suits which made them look rich and important to the immigrants. Next to the inspectors stood interpreters. They helped immigrants who didn't speak English. Most interpreters spoke about 6 languages. One Ellis Island myth says that immigration officials changed many people's names because they couldn't understand them. In fact, often inspectors who checked names spoke and read each immigrant's language. Ellis Island officials checked each immigrant's documents. The inspectors checked 29 pieces of information about each immigrant. Immigrants had to say how old they are, what jobs they could do, and if they were married. There were also questions about their personal beliefs concerning right and wrong or morals. Inspectors wanted to identify any likely criminals. A literacy test was added in 1917. All immigrants over 16 years of age had to prove they could read and write. Most read parts of the Bible aloud in their own language. Those who failed might be sent home. Many immigrants practiced answering these questions during the long hours at sea. Although it was frightening, the legal inspection only took a few minutes. Most immigrants passed and got their landing cards, which officially allowed them to enter the country. A family from Poland proudly hold out their landing cards for an inspector on Ellis Island. A longer stay. After the legal inspection, immigrants walked down a flight of stairs. It was known as the Stairs of Separation. Immigrants with landing cards moved on to meet relatives or buy train tickets. Immigrants without landing cards went to the island's dormitories or hospitals. Entire families sometimes had to stay on Ellis Island for weeks or even months. Some waited for a relative to recover in the hospital. Others waited for relatives who had not yet been approved to enter the country. 5 out of 6 of these immigrants were finally allowed into the United States. Single women were not allowed to leave without a man who wasn't related to them. Writers, that is the end of the Ellis Island chapter that we were going to read. Now it is time for you to fill out the exit ticket. Remember that you are responding to this question. Go ahead and read it again to yourself. Remember what you need to include. I have your reminders. And then this is where you will be responding to your writing diagnostic. Good luck. I'm looking forward to seeing how you do on this wonderful piece of writing. If you have any questions, please reach out to me or Mr. Martinez. Bye, guys.